Hello friends, my name is Ramsu. Today we shall discuss about a topic that what is velocity in Agile. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in Agile and Scrum methodologies and you want to move your career towards the project management using these methodologies. So this is a very interesting and important topic for you. So let's start, friend. First of all, I would request to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell option as well so that my new videos can reach to you, and also you can follow me on the Facebook page and Instagram as well. So now the question here, that what is velocity in Agile? Friend, the ability of Agile project management to increase flexibility, productivity and high quality deliverables is proven across industries. Not just in software development, Agile is often used in Scrum framework, and one important matrix used in velocity. Today we shall discuss that in Agile and show how to use it to project completion. So what is velocity in Agile? The rate basically at which your team can deliver is a key Agile matrix called velocity. Accurately calculating your Agile team's velocity will allow you to determine the dates you can reach product milestones, or if you need to deliver a product in completion, what date you should be able to achieve completion. Velocity will also help you avoid over promising or on deliverables for a client. Agile velocity is a useful tool for teams to use internally, not necessarily to use for external determinations. The team can use it to track estimates and completions over several sprints, giving them an accurate understanding of how fast they can move through a backlog. It helps a team look at their progress and strengths and learn how to improve their metrics. Now, how is Agile velocity is basically calculated? Before you begin to calculate your team's velocity, you will want to complete at least 3 to 5 sprints. This allows for a team that is new to Agile project management to get used to the workflow, and for any changes the team is going through to normalize. Your velocity will fluctuate during these initial sprints but will stabilize after 3 or more have been completed. To work through the formula, you will need to know how many points each user story is worth. Story point measurement is relative. It can be calculated in different ways for different organizations. The rule of thumb in determining a story point is to find the simplest story, assign it 1 point and then use it to assess the rest. You can use two scales to determine your story points, a linear scale or Fibonacci sequence. Now, Agile velocity formula. To calculate the velocity of a sprint, you need to know how many user stories the team needs to complete. You also need to know the number of points that a user story is worth. Then look at the number of stories completed and add up the points. Okay. Now, let us discuss an example here. In a sprint 1, your team has committed to 8 user stories and each story equals 3 story points. Let us say the team only completes 4 stories. So, you would have achieved 12 story points in total. In a sprint 2, your team has committed to 10 user stories and each story equals 5 story points. Let us say your team completes 7 stories. So, you would have end up with 35 story points. In a sprint 3, your team commits to 9 user stories and each story equals 4 story points. So, let us say your team completes 7 stories, you would have 20 story points. Now, you have the individual sprint velocity, you can average them together. That means, average sprint velocity is equal to 12 plus 35 plus 20 divided by 3, which is equal to 56. Velocity chart in Agile, what it is actually? Once you have found the velocity of each sprint, you might want to enter that information into a velocity chart. A velocity chart can help in a few ways. That it can be used to track the status of a project. It can be used to track volatility, which is a measure of predictability. If you are finding bills and valleys in your hills and valleys in your chart, the project is an unpredictable one. This can be for several reasons, including the size and difficulty of the project and team changes. A velocity change will also help you identify patterns in your team's velocity, including on projects where they may not be story point, but instead the team is working out bugs. Agile velocity example. Let's look at an example of how to calculate velocity and predict project completion. Calculate velocity for the first sprint. Assume your team committed to 4 stories and each story is worth 4 points. At the end of the sprint, your team has completed 3 stories, but the fourth is only half complete. In Agile, you don't count partially completed projects, it's all or nothing, so you want to calculate only the 3 completed stories. Your velocity on this sprint is 12. Step 2. Predict the number of sprints needed. In this step, you want to assume that your remaining sprints will be similar. Your team can now revise the prediction of when the project will be completed. With this in mind, let's assume the project includes user stories that total 48. To complete the project, you will need a total of 4 sprints. Remember that there is no ideal velocity number. By following the processes outlined we have already discussed, a project manager can use velocity in Agile to determine the number of sprints that will be needed for the project and how much time each sprint needs actually. So friend, thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you like this video. If you like it, please share it with the friends and colleagues, and thanks a lot for watching the video. Thank you friends.